This fantasy football segment is presented by Panda Supps. If you're looking for the best high-quality vitamins or you're trying to get rid of that dad bod, go to pandasupps.com and use code CHAT at checkout where you can save 30% and get free shipping. So this video, I am going to rank the top 10 quarterbacks for fantasy football in 2020. But we do a lot of news. We do a lot of rumors. We don't do a lot of fantasy football talk. So if you want more videos, if you play fantasy football, I want you to like this video right now. And hey, if you want to go down in the comments and let me know how long you've been playing for, I'm going on 14 years. Shout out to my family fantasy football league. All right, let's get into it now. At number 10, Tom Brady, 43-year-old dude. And the simple reason why Tom Brady is in the top 10 for fantasy football quarterbacks is he's on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and they are going to have plenty of firepower. I don't expect this team to really run the football a lot, but I watched a lot of tape last year. And let me just put this simple. If Jameis Winston can throw for 30 interceptions and still be a top 3 quarterback in fantasy, you have to at least make the argument that if Brady, who I can guarantee it doesn't throw for 30 interceptions, could at least be in that top 10 because Bruce Arians is going to chuck the football, and I don't blame him. When you have options like a Mike Evans, like a Chris Godwin, both of those receivers, in my opinion, are top 10 receivers, but it doesn't just stop there. Brady, all the way back to his time in New England, always used tight ends. He might have the best tight end group in the entire league. You have Rob Gronkowski. Can he stay healthy? I love O.J. Howard. I think he's the most underrated tight end in real football, and actually, I think in terms of fantasy football value, I'll take O.J. Howard over Gronk. And then sure, Cameron Brady's for tight end 3. Yeah, that's pretty good. Let's go to number 9 now, Buffalo Bills quarterback Josh Allen. Do I think Josh Allen is the top 10 real-life quarterback? Absolutely not. But remember, this is fantasy football. This is about getting points. And the reason why Josh Allen is a top 10 fantasy quarterback, his legs. He can get it done on the ground. 1,141 rushing yards, 17 rushing touchdowns his past 2 seasons. And this stat might blow your mind. The 6th best quarterback last year. If you don't play a lot of fantasy football, if you're looking for a quarterback where you can get insane value on, I'm telling you right now, Josh Allen, with the newly added Stephon Diggs, he should definitely be on the list. So I'm going to make this the pinned comment on today's video. I'm not going to make it a secret. It's either going to be Patrick Mahomes or Lamar Jackson is going to be my number 1. But here at Chat Sports, I want to know what y'all have to say. So who should be ranked number 1? Scroll on down and let me know. Type M for Patrick Mahomes. Type J for Lamar Jackson, or if you think it's somebody else, type O. At number 8, Matthew Stafford, and I think the Lions have one of the most underrated offenses in the entire National Football League, and in fact, I think Matthew Stafford's one of the most underrated quarterbacks in the league. Before his injury last season, he was a top 6 quarterback. When you have top options like a Marvin Lewis, when you have top options and maybe the most underrated receiver in the entire league, Kenny Golladay, this is why you're going to be able to put up points. The Lions have continued to try to improve that defense. I'm not 100% sold on them being improved, but I do know this. If Matthew Stafford can play 16 games, mark my words, y'all can find me. I'm on Instagram and Twitter at MitchellRens365. If Matthew Stafford plays all 16 games, he will finish as a top 10 quarterback. This ranking breaks my heart a little bit because if y'all know, I love DeShaun Watson. I think he's a top 5 quarterback in terms of talent. However, I understand that he finished top 5 last season, and he can beat you with his legs, and he can beat you with his arm. However, losing DeAndre Hopkins is going to hurt his value. It's going to hurt his production. Now, I don't need to tell you that DeAndre Hopkins is one of the best wide receivers in the league, but just to put it simply, I really think that Watson is going to have to rely on his legs more than ever this upcoming year. The offensive line still is not very reliable, and then the receivers. You have a Kenny Stills. He's in trade rumors all the time. Will Fuller, can he stay healthy? I know you went out and traded for Brandon Cooks, but this is a wide receiver core that has a lot of injury concerns. On top of the fact that, yes, DeShaun Watson also has injury concerns. If he can play 16 games, man, I would love to see it. But Watson, I'm sorry, I had to rank you at number 7. So today's sponsor is Panda Supps. I use their pre-workout product every single day before I hit the gym, and y'all can too. In order to get it, just go to pandasupps.com, use code CHAT at checkout, where you're going to be able to save 30% off. Why would somebody use pre-workout? increase your muscle gains. You're also going to be able to stay more focused in the gym. When you're more focused, guess what? You get a lot more done. Plus, with that special code, it goes from $54.99. You can just cut that down to $38.50. I promise you, you're going to love their products. And the reason why it's a panda, which I just found out, they picked the panda because it looks on the outside cuddly, but if you really get close to it, it'll rip you apart. $38.50, pandasupps.com. Use code CHAT. At number 6, and I think some people are going to yell at me for having Kyler Murray this high, but he finished as quarterback 7 last year. And now you give him DeAndre Hopkins. You could actually make the argument for me that he should be ranked higher. Why should he be ranked higher? It's pretty simple. He can get it done with his legs. And when you add all the options that he has in his offense, plus you said goodbye to David Johnson, thank the Lord, Murray's going to have opportunities. He's going to have to put up some numbers, especially in that division. If y'all are Cardinals fans and you're loving this ranking of Murray, go subscribe to our Cardinals channel. You can see the red link below, chatsports.com/Cardinals TV. So who here loves fantasy football? The way that I started working actually here at Chat Sports was I started my own fantasy football podcast, and they were like, you know what, Mitch? Come on, start doing some videos for us. But me, we don't get enough views. We don't have enough subscribers that love fantasy football content. So if you are a diehard fantasy football fan, if fantasy football AF is in your blood, hit that subscribe button. Tell your friends to go subscribe to Chat Sports, because if the more subscribers we get, the more views we get on this video, I can make more fantasy football videos. Can you help me out? I sure hope so. All right, let's get in now to my top 5. Drew Brees. And a lot of people will say Drew Brees is washed up. A lot of people will say Drew Brees isn't a fantasy football quarterback. I disagree. And in fact, I think Drew Brees is the GOAT of fantasy football quarterbacks. He was the number 1 quarterback in fantasy the last 6 weeks of 2019. Why is that important? He had a thumb injury. Yes, Teddy Bridgewater filled in nicely for him. But you're still looking at a dude who's going to have Michael Thomas. You're looking at a guy who has Emmanuel Sanders now. And if he has a fully healthy Alvin Kamara, sure, Kamara might take away a few rushing touchdowns, but Drew Brees last year, 27 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, going to be super consistent, going to be super fun offense to watch. That's why he's in my top 5. It was really hard for me to put Dak Prescott over Brees, but I'm looking at upside here. One reason why I know what Prescott's going to be able to do that Brees can't, run it. And he's going to be able to get into the end zone with his legs as well. Plus, he continues to get better every single year. And coming off a career year, now you give him CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb and maybe another receiver that's unbelievably underrated is Michael Gallup. Yeah, who, by the way, had over 1,000 receiving yards last year. So you have Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, CeeDee Lamb. If that's not one of the best, if not the best wide receiver corps in the NFL, I don't know what is. So now you have Dak, who's going to be playing with a chip on his shoulder, and guess what? He freaking should be. With all this talent around him, they're going to throw the football. Not 100% sold on that defense. Go out and get yourself a Dak Prescott in fantasy football drafts. So who is your favorite quarterback? Not just fantasy quarterback. If you want to put that twist on it, you know what? Hey, who am I to say that you can't do it? But I want to know, who is your favorite quarterback this upcoming season? For me personally, the quarterback that I continue to target in my fantasy drafts is Josh Allen, but my favorite quarterback of all time will always be Drew Brees. He's the dude that I won my very, very first fantasy football title with. So, Dak Prescott was at number 4, which means now we are going to go to number 3, Russell Wilson. And we've been saying it for a while here on Chat Sports, let Russ cook. What does that mean? Seahawks, Pete Carroll, let Russell Wilson throw the football. He has been a top 10 quarterback the past 3 seasons, and I fully expect that the Seahawks let him throw the ball more. Not just in the fourth quarter. We know what he can do in the fourth quarter. But if you're telling me that he's been able to put up this type of production, and he's one of the quarterbacks that finishes in the bottom 10 every single year in pass attempts, imagine if we put him in the top 10 of pass attempts. He's going to be able to put up sick numbers. And I actually have this gut feeling that they're not done signing wide receivers. I don't think it's going to be Antonio Brown, but I do think it's going to be a player like Josh Gordon. If you want to get in shape like Josh Gordon, I don't know if you've seen that dude. He's got muscles that look like pretzels. Like, his arms are just super defined. Why? Probably because when he gets done working out, he uses BCAs. And I don't know 100% for certain if he uses Panda Supps, but it would make a lot of sense. Go to pandasupps.com. Use code CHAT at checkout. The reason why you should use BCAs, it's going to help recover your muscles to recover. It's also going to help them get bigger as well. And if you take advantage with our deal, you cut that $34.99 all the way down to $24.50. It's good to work out, but if you don't take care of your body after you're done working out, you're really not doing as much as you possibly could. So let's now get into my top 2 quarterbacks here in my fantasy football rankings. And I told you earlier, it's between Patrick Mahomes and it's between Lamar Jackson. This is what Mahomes did in 2018. Stupid numbers, 417 fantasy points. Then you have Lamar Jackson's 2019, where both of these players in these respected years did win the MVP. So, who is going to be my number 1 quarterback in these rankings? It's not going to be Patrick Mahomes. And I think Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league, and I think he is on the best offense in the National Football League. And it's really hard to split hairs. If you want to take Mahomes over Lamar Jackson, I'm not going to get mad at you. However, the reason why I have Mahomes at number 2, I think that they are going to pass the football a ton. I think he's going to put up stupid numbers again. They might run the football a little bit more with Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and let's just say he takes away a few extra touchdowns away from Mahomes. I don't think he's ever going to put up 50 touchdowns again, and I don't know if he'll ever surpass 5,000 yards. Actually, I take that back. Yeah, I still think Patrick Mahomes is going to surpass 5,000 yards. Incredible quarterback. But the reason why Lamar Jackson, for me, is number 1, it's the legs. And in fantasy football, that's what really gets you points. And the consistency of Lamar Jackson is really why I had to put him at number 1. I mean, he averaged more than 27 fantasy points per game in 2019. That's stupid. He put up 422 fantasy points last year and didn't even play in Week 17. Like, you're looking at numbers that we have never seen before. He led the NFL in passing touchdowns, 36. Oh, yeah. He set the NFL rushing record, 1,206 yards. And let me say it again. He sat out an entire game. I am not 100% sure if the Baltimore Ravens are going to go 14-2 again, but if they are competing and they're going to force Lamar to play that extra game, what's to say that he can't rush for more yards? And if he does, what does that equal? More fantasy production. So before I leave you, I'm curious, all right? Which quarterback did I leave out of my top 10? Remember, these are based on fantasy points, on the guys that I think are going to score the most points. It is not based on talent alone. If you want to yell at me, you can find me on Instagram or on Twitter at MitchellRen365. But I'm going to be looking in the comments which quarterback I left off my list.